website. So thank you, Alexis, for also recording, but monitoring the chat for questions. Throughout the meeting today, I will pause for questions so you can pop them into chat as we are moving along. I want to thank all of you for your patience in allowing me to have a small emergency last Thursday that precluded me from showing up to the scheduled information session. So I have good news to report. It didn't end up being as bad as things could have gone. So thank you so much for your patience in attending a week later. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is being recorded as a reminder, and you will be getting this in an email. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what are the types of things I'm going to share today that we hope you learn, knowing that if there are any questions, I'm always available for a 30-minute Teams meeting, a phone call, to have a conversation one-on-one with you as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about what is included in the grant application. There have been some updates and changes to the program that I want to share with you. And then I always think everyone's curious about how the applications are reviewed and evaluated. And this year, as part of the changes to the Operations and Programs Grant Program, we did change how we are evaluating applications. Nothing that you need to do differently, but I will share that in today's session. So thank you again for joining. The Operations and Programs Grant, as many of you know, is a perfect example of how we bridge what we do here at the foundation, what nonprofits wish to do, and what donors hope to make happen for nonprofits, but also the greater Quad Cities community, resulting in what we call that transformation triangle. And all of you are a part of this. We are grant makers, and I know you're here today to learn about a grant program, but we do so much more here at the Quad Cities Community Foundation. We have a robust scholarship program, community initiatives like Teens for Tomorrow, a youth philanthropy group that I mentor, the Harris Center for Nonprofit Excellence offerings, just to help support nonprofit leaders in connecting to one another, to helpful resources, and also our amazing development team that can support organizations like yours in their endowment buildings. So if you connect with me, I can connect you to all of the wonderful opportunities here at the foundation. As you all know, or maybe don't, the purpose of this grant is to provide general operating support for your organization, your mission, or a specific program within your organization. For those ongoing efforts. A grant from this program is kind of fun because it's unrestricted, which basically means that if what you wish to spend the funding on supports the organization or a specific program within your organization, it is eligible. So some of the examples that funding has been used for in the past would be like staff salaries, rent, utilities, supplies. So we love to hear unrestricted, and I'm so happy that we have one of our competitive grants programs that allows for that. So, circling back to eligibility, this program is open to any 501c3 nonprofit organization and other nonprofits who are considered charitable and didn't receive a 2-year grant last year, meaning that in 2025 you were not awarded a 2-year grant. It is not for individuals or for-profit business. There are geographic restrictions. So primarily, this particular grant program serves Scott or Rock Island or both counties, or a 501c3 within 60 miles of Rock Island. There are some, and I know that this question comes quite often, is if you are not a 501c3, but maybe and perhaps you are a charitable organization that may be within the scope of a fiscal sponsorship, Can you apply? And the answer is yes. You will just be prompted in the application to sign an expenditure responsibility agreement. And the reporting is just slightly different as well. But we welcome applications from all nonprofit organizations. So again, if you're unsure if your organization is eligible, or you just want to be sure and confident, please, please, please feel free to give me a call. You may apply for anywhere from $5,000 up to $20,000 for a 1-year grant. If you are familiar with our previous grant program last year and prior, you could apply for a 2-year grant. This year, it is a 1-year grant request only. So I'm going to pause for a moment. And Alexis, are there any questions so far that are popping up in chat that I can address?
No questions at this time.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and move forward here. So how are these operations and programs grants funded? It's funded by actually 6 fields of interest, the 6 of them presented here in this slide. On the application, you will be asked to identify the field of interest that best describes the area of your organization's work. It may be that your organization may fit into 2 categories, but at least one of the fields of interest will be one that you would want to indicate on your application. Basically, of these funds that we have in our field of interest, there are upwards of maybe 12 different funds this year that have spendable dollars to help fund the applications. All of these funds have been entrusted to us to use for these specific areas of interest. The good news is all you need to do is indicate what your organization represents in terms of its field of interest. And then that one application allows us to figure out which of the funds and where from which fund we can help to fund your application. So you just have to sit back, check a box, let us know, and we'll do the rest of the work for you. So what are you going to see on this application? Before getting there, determining your organization or your program is eligible, you will want to log in to our online grant system. Just so you know, and probably many of you already do, this application opened on June 1st. It is closing on July 15th. And all organizations that are awarded will have their decisions emailed or denied. Both happen on September 1st. So as you're thinking about whether this is right for your organization, just kind of decide whether it's eligible. I want to tell you specifically, if you are unsure, always reach out, especially if you might have forgotten whether you were awarded a 2-year grant last year. So we do not take applications any other way other than through our online grant system. So if for some reason that is an issue, please reach out for a conversation. And also to be respectful of time, taking a look at that application ahead of time before even hopping in to do any work on it, just to let you know, an example of the application is actually available for preview on our website. So what will you see on the form, and how can you prepare for the application? We will ask your charitable status. Again, are you a 501c3, a fiscal sponsor organization? That type of information is available for you to fill out on the one application. You'll want to have prepared a list of board members. You're going to be asked about the number of employees in your organization, the number of people served, and any demographic information that you might collect on the people that you serve. And also demographics about your leadership. For example, race, ethnicity, gender identity, and as abilities status will be offered for you to share with us. I just want you to be abundantly clear that this information really just helps us with two things. One, it helps us to track and report the demographics of the organizations we fund. And two, it helps us to understand more about your leadership and how it reflects the people that your organization serves. I want to be abundantly clear and mindful that we understand that these times may actually preclude your organization from collecting or reporting on demographics. We do leave that opportunity for you to share a narrative about maybe what your circumstances are, that you can indicate that on the application. And I would also offer that you absolutely can reach out to me to have that conversation as well. So definitely don't want anybody to feel like you are sharing information that you're not comfortable sharing. Also noted, all of this information, there is an opportunity on the application to submit all of those items in one spot if you've already submitted this information to another funder. So trying to make it as easy as possible, right? So I'm going to pause for any questions before I move into how applications are evaluated. Alexis, are there any questions popping up in the chat that I can address?
No questions yet.
Oh, perfect. All right, so how will my application be evaluated? I think it's important to note, and as you can see, eligibility, as I've discussed, community need, effectiveness, what the impact of this grant means for your organization and for those that you serve. We also look at on the rubric equity, whether your organization or the program is advancing racial and other forms of equity in the Quad City region, as well as the impact that it has, like your organizations and programs with a track record of success and positive community impact. What you might not know or might be helpful to know is that the foundation itself does not make these final decisions. We assemble a committee of community volunteers, people who have background in nonprofit, in financial background, leaders in our community. These all have these different experiences. We try to account for age, for race, ethnicity, all ability levels as best we can to have a broad wealth of people with a wealth of experience. They are those final decision makers as to how and which applications will be awarded. So I should probably mention as well, you do not need to hit and fire on all of those aspects. So you may have an application that maybe fares better in one area or the other. It is very rare that that one organization can, again, fires on all cylinders. So there's a lot of different things that our applicants, our evaluators rather, are looking at in our applications. So what qualities does a successful application have? I can share with you what I've noted that our committee members do kind of pinpoint as successful applications in the past. Really strong applications demonstrate organizational readiness and sustainability. So the mission is serving a community need. And the organization has a proven track record of engaging and connecting with community partners to impact the Quad Cities in a meaningful way. Also, reporting data and measuring impact. A reliable, well thought through system is in place to steward awarded funds, including a system and process for defining and reporting on progress. So when we are looking at applications, when our committee is looking at applications, they're looking to see, is there a system in place to steward these funds? Is the organization prepared to take this funding in and to, show efficacy? Also, I think organizations that report equity and inclusion in its leadership, that leadership reflects the clients served by the organization's mission. So there are many things that make an application really successful, but I would say those would be sort of three takeaways that I would say qualify in the eyes of the evaluators. I'm going to go ahead and move into what our program updates are. I've mentioned already that we are taking requests for 1-year grants only between $5,000 and $20,000, which means moving the type of grant request to 1 year will allow for more applications to be awarded. As no surprise to all of you, we are seeing a record number of applications, ergo need. But the funding isn't necessarily increasing commensurate with that need. So we are moving to a 1-year request grant. The other thing that we are doing a little bit differently to support our committee is that all of the submitted applications will go through first an internal review. And we're not, in the past, every application went to our committee members, but the number of applications last year we discovered was untenable. We want to be respectful of their time and really respectful of organizations as well, who, first of all, applying, right? Knowing that every application that's coming in is going to get a good read from our review committee. So if you apply after the review internally, you will know by August 1st. So that's about a month prior to notification of awarded applicants, whether your application will move forward for committee consideration. You are, and another new update this year, and maybe you saw that communication in the email that went out about this information session, you are invited to join for free one of the two workshop offerings on Monday, June 15th. There's one available at 11 a.m., 11 to noon, and another one from 3 to 4, both here at the Quad City Community Foundation in our community room. There, as you know, you can always reach out for a 30-minute meeting to talk with me about your application in draft. I just want to offer another opportunity, an in-person option here, so that maybe you can ask more specific questions about your application. So I will share a QR code twice in this presentation that would allow you to sign up for one of those times. And I do want to apologize if you've missed the communication about that. This meeting was actually a week ago, which would have given you a little more time to plan. So I do apologize if this is kind of sprung upon you, knowing it's in 5 days or whatever it is. But do keep in mind, I'm also available for one-on-ones, but in person and maybe with a cohort of other nonprofit leaders thinking about applying for this grant, having that available. Who knows, this might be something that we will want to continue in the future. So avail yourself of that opportunity. Just to speak a little bit more about that workshop. Again, you don't need to attend both. They will not be recorded, and there are no materials that will be shared outside of these workshops. The same information and the same process at the 11 a.m. spot and the 3 p.m. spot. There's no difference between the two of them. What it is essentially is just a safe space to join other applicants, to think and share and pre-write, and sharing and listening to others can spark questions and ideas. I will have our application printed off. So maybe as you're looking at different parts and sections of the application, asking very specific questions, I'm available for that. You need not come with a draft. I will provide pens and spots for you to write on. So hopefully that is supportive for you, and know that there's no expectation of have anything completed prior. But also I want to be clear what it is not. This is not a teaching people how to write grants. We have a lot of opportunities through Harris Center for Nonprofit Excellence. We have other organizations locally that do provide that and do a wonderful job of quote unquote teaching people or showing people how to write grants. I want to be clear that this workshop is not that. It's not a tutorial on how to write grants according to QCCF staff, nor is it a guarantee that funding will follow. Again, we have always, and I will always encourage you as a former English teacher, specifically a teacher of writing, I always told my students our best conversations happen in draft, not after the paper has been graded. So we've always offered that. I will always encourage that. This is just one other opportunity to get maybe some support in your grant writing specific to the operations and programs grant. I'll pause there because I think that's all of the new information to the program this year. Alexis, are you seeing any questions that are showing up in the chat today?
No questions at this time.
Okay. All right. Perfect. As mentioned, hopefully this is showing up for you well, the QR code that will allow you to sign up for one of these workshops on Monday, June 15th. These are in person. I don't know if I made that clear, but they are held here and are in person. And just reminder here that if you can't make one of these workshops, you can also, reach out to me individually as well. So. Speaking of grant writing tips, we always like to remind people that you can take advantage of what already exists. Our applications, as I mentioned earlier, do allow for you to give a PDF, a Word doc. You can upload that with all of the information that maybe and perhaps you've already written for another funder. We will always recommend using a second set of eyes, or 3 or 4. And always remind you, don't leave blanks as much as possible. When our committee members sit down and at our decision meetings, the last thing you want them to do is say, I don't know, because they didn't answer. So if you're questioning how to respond to maybe one of the prompts on the application, that would be another opportunity to reach out and maybe ask that prior to submission. So are there any remaining questions lingering that may have arisen? This is the time for you to, come off mute, ask questions if you have any.
I think you answered everything. I had a couple before coming in, but you got to everything I wondered about. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. And again, this may not be the time where the questions are popping up. You absolutely can reach out, or maybe I'll see you on Monday. Any other questions? That is everything that I plan to share with you today. One last opportunity to snag that QR code for the workshop registration. I think the weather hopefully will settle down and that none of you experienced anything, too horrific over the last 24 hours. It's been quite a ride, but please know that you can reach me at that phone number. You can reach me at my email. And give us a call if you have questions. Other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon and stay safe and take care. And if you want to stick around for questions, I am absolutely available for that.